You are starving to death because your kitchen smells like your grandmother's lavender soap instead of the decaying food on your plate. This is the reality of the saturation. A silent shift in the atmosphere that has turned the world into a beautiful, lethal hall of mirrors for the nose. It began without a flash or a bang, appearing instead as a subtle golden haze that settled over the cities, rewriting the chemical signatures of everything we touch. We no longer smell the exhaust of the morning commute or the metallic tang of rain on pavement. Instead, the world is thick with the scent of 985, or a childhood summer, or a person who hasn't walked this earth in decades. It is a sensory hijack that has brought the global economy to a halt, not because of a virus or a war, but because no one wants to leave their memories behind. The air is heavy with particles that seem to have a selective memory of their own. Science remains divided on whether this is an atmospheric anomaly, a byproduct of a dormant deep-sea release, or a psychological ripple effect manifested in the physical world. What we do know is that the present has become invisible to our senses. A forest fire no longer smells of smoke and burning pine. It smells like the pages of an old library book you loved as a child. This sensory disconnect is creating a secondary crisis where survival instincts are being overridden by nostalgia. People are walking into burning buildings or freezing landscapes because the scent of a lost loved one's cologne is drifting from the center of the danger, acting as a siren song that the human brain is simply not wired to resist. In the middle of this aromatic chaos, the animals have changed. They have become the only bridges between the past we crave and the reality we are neglecting. A stray dog walking through a crowded subway station doesn't smell like a wet animal. It radiates the exact scent of a father's leather jacket, the one he wore the last time he was seen. These creatures have become known as the guides. They don't bark or growl anymore. They simply appear in the doorways of the grieving, carrying the phantom scents of the departed. They linger on street corners, surrounded by groups of weeping strangers who just want to catch a glimpse of a memory through their nostrils. There is a quiet, devastating peace in these gatherings, a collective mourning held together by the scent of peppermint, Old Spice, or fresh laundry. The cities are transforming into hushed museums of the mind. High-rise apartments are being abandoned because the stairwells smell like hospital corridors, while the ruins of old parks are teeming with people because the air there smells like a first date. We are seeing the rise of a new kind of hermit, those who find a specific patch of ground where the saturation is particularly thick with a pleasant memory and refuse to move, even as the seasons change and their bodies weaken. They call it the scent lock. It is a hypnotic state where the brain prioritizes the phantom scent over the need for water or warmth. To look into the eyes of someone in a scent lock is to see a person who is no longer living in our century. They are back in a kitchen in 1988, watching a mother bake bread that doesn't exist anymore. Emily Harper found her spot on the third day of the haze. In an abandoned playground where the rust should have smelled of iron and neglect, the air instead carried the scent of her daughter's hair after a bath in 2019. It was a specific mix of apricot shampoo and clean cotton. Emily sat down on the wooden bench and never stood up again. Days blurred into nights. Her body began to wither from lack of nourishment, but her mind was elsewhere, anchored to a living room that had been burned to the ground years prior. When the volunteers finally reached her, she was smiling, her skin cold, her eyes fixed on the empty air, still inhaling deeply as if her child were right there, leaning against her knee. This is the mercy and the malice of the saturation. It offers you everything you lost, but the price is the only thing you have left: your future. This phenomenon has created a strange, non-violent tension between the survivors. There are those who believe we must find a way to filter the air, to return to the harsh, often unpleasant smells of reality so that we can function again. They argue that humanity cannot survive on ghosts alone. Then there are the seekers, those who follow the migration patterns of the guides, moving from city to city to find the specific scent of a lost child or a forgotten friend. The seekers view the saturation as a gift, a final mercy for a world that was becoming too cold and sterile. They don't care if the physical world is crumbling around them as long as the air remains sweet with the scent of what they have lost. They are nomads of the olfactory, chasing a golden retriever through the ruins of a shopping mall because its fur smells like a wedding bouquet from 30 years ago. The danger lies in the predatory nature of memory. Not all memories are kind, and the saturation doesn't filter for joy. In some sectors of the city, the air is stagnant with the smell of old copper and ozone, the scent that preceded a tragic accident or a moment of profound shame. These areas are avoided, left as dead zones, where the air itself feels like a weight on the chest. People who wander into these pockets often find themselves trapped in a loop of their worst days, unable to find their way out because their senses are telling them they are back in the room where everything went wrong. The psychological toll of being forced to relive one's trauma through the nose is a shadow that follows the initial beauty of the phenomenon. It is a sensory prison where the bars are made of the very things we wish we could forget. The role of the guides remains the greatest mystery of this new era. Why do the animals carry these scents? Some observers have noted that a cat might smell like cinnamon and sugar to one person, but like salty sea air to another standing only 5 feet away. This suggests that the particles in the air are reacting to individual neural pathways, pulling specific memories to the surface. The animals are merely the vessels, the moving anchors for these floating ghosts. They seem to understand their role, moving with a heavy, purposeful grace, led by an instinct we cannot comprehend. They are the only ones who can navigate this world without getting lost in the haze, perhaps because they live so entirely in the present that the sense of the past cannot trap them. They watch us with eyes that seem older than the species itself, offering a comfort that is as hollow as it is beautiful. We are watching the slow-motion collapse of modern infrastructure. Factories have gone silent because the workers can no longer focus on the machinery when the air smells like their childhood bedroom. Transportation is a gamble. Pilots and drivers are finding it impossible to navigate when the windshield shows a highway, but the nose insists they are sitting in a flower garden. We are becoming a species of ghosts, wandering through a landscape that we can no longer properly perceive. The social fabric is being replaced by a series of individual hallucinations, each person isolated in their own olfactory bubble. Communication is breaking down because we are all talking to different versions of the past. The shared reality that once held us together has dissolved into a billion private dreams. There's a growing fear that the saturation is not a temporary state, but a permanent shift in the planet's chemistry. If the air never clears, if the particles continue to thicken, the concept of a shared reality might vanish entirely. We will become a planet of billions of people living in billions of different timelines, all occupying the same physical space but never truly meeting. The only thing keeping us tethered to each other are the guides, the silent animals that move between our individual dreams, carrying the scents that remind us we were once part of a larger story. They are the keepers of our collective history, walking through the ruins of our civilization with the smell of our ancestors on their fur. As the sun sets over a skyline that no longer smells of smog, but of burning autumn leaves and old sweaters, the true cost of this healing becomes clear. We are trading our future for a chance to sit with our past. It is a gentle, aromatic end to the world as we knew it. There is no panic in the streets, only the soft sound of people breathing deeply, eyes closed, chasing the ghosts that the wind has brought back to them. We are a world held captive by its own nostalgia, unwilling to wake up from a dream that smells so much better than the truth. Whether this is a natural evolution or a psychological sanctuary, the question remains: what happens when the last memory fades and the air is finally, terrifyingly empty? The silence of the cities is punctuated only by the occasional footstep of a guide, a golden retriever that smells like a grandmother's hugs, or a black cat that carries the scent of a long-lost wedding bouquet. They move through the corridors of power and the alleyways of poverty with the same indifference, offering their scent-based solace to anyone who stays still long enough. We have become a society of scent worshippers, leaving bowls of water and scraps of food for these animals, not out of kindness, but out of a desperate need to keep the memories close. If the dog leaves the neighborhood, the memory of a beloved brother leaves with it, and the void left behind is more painful than any physical hunger. We are no longer feeding the living, we are maintaining the conduits to the dead. In the laboratories that still function, the air is scrubbed and filtered, creating small pockets of the real. But even the scientists there find it hard to stay. They miss the ghosts. They find the smell of sterile plastic and recycled oxygen to be hollow and terrifying. It reminds them of a future that is no longer being built, a world that has stopped moving forward. One by one, they remove their masks and step outside, breathing in the golden haze, choosing the scent of a 1940s jazz club or a seaside picnic over the cold reality of a dying civilization. They surrender to the saturation, joining the millions who have decided that the past is a better place to live than the present. The machines hum in the background, untended, as the last of the logic-driven world inhales the fragrance of a lost era. The mystery of the particles continues to haunt the few who still ask why. Is it a defense mechanism of the Earth, a way to pacify a species that was becoming too destructive? By turning our focus inward, to our own personal histories, the Earth has effectively neutralized the human threat. We are too busy smelling the roses of 1972 to mine the mountains or pollute the oceans. We have been put into a collective, sensory-induced hibernation. It is a dark irony that our most cherished memories have become the bars of our cage, a prison that smells so sweet we never want to leave. Perhaps the planet didn't want to kill us. Perhaps it just wanted us to stop moving. As the years pass in this aromatic twilight, the human story is being rewritten into a series of footnotes. We are no longer the architects of the future. We are the curators of a vanishing museum. The saturation has proven that the human heart is more vulnerable to a scent than to a sword. We can be conquered by the smell of a home that no longer exists. And as we sit in the golden light, listening to the silence and breathing in the phantom scents of those we loved, we realize that we are not just remembering the past. We are becoming it. The air is saturated with us, with our stories and our losses, and eventually there will be nothing left but the scent of a memory drifting through an empty world. Next time, you catch a scent that makes your heart ache with impossible sweetness. Fresh cookies, your mother's perfume, the leather jacket of someone you lost. Do not follow it. Do not close your eyes and breathe deeper. Do not let the golden haze settle in your lungs. Because the guides are not bringing the dead back to you. They are not bridges to a lost time or messengers from a kinder world. They are leading you away from the living, drawing you into a stillness from which no one ever returns. And one day, when the last person has surrendered to the golden haze, the air will finally fall silent, carrying nothing but the faint, lingering scent of a world that chose memory over survival. The past is a beautiful place to visit, but it is a terrifying place to stay.